Doubles and coffee. I quite in Panama and I have to read the nonsense that Penelope Becker's talking about sport and Shamfa Kujo, and Shamfa must get credit because she gave money through the elite funding program. Penelope Becker's, that's what you feel is the extent of a minister of sport? That's why under the PNM, sport went its lowest ebb across the board. We ended up at 2 consecutive Olympics without a medal. Shamfa Kujo gave a check, and Penelope Beckers, the nonsense that you talk outside the parliament about Keshon was not doing well, but Shamfa still helped him with the elite athlete assistance. It shows that you are clueless, you don't take the time to research, you know nothing and you talk nonsense. Not doing well? What does that mean? Keshon Walcott made nearly every World Championship final. He didn't medal, but making a final is the top 11 in the world. To qualify for elite athlete assistance, you just have to be in the top 40 in the world. So, Keshon Walcott, Jareem Richards, these athletes earned that. That's their right. And that little pittance of money cannot begin to pay for their expenses, their coaches, their travel, their food, their vitamins, their supplements, their physiotherapy, their massage therapy. You have no clue. It's best you just hush. Because Shamfa Kujo is the worst minister of sport in history. You didn't know that she was asking Richard Thompson, Richard Torpedo Thompson, the man who ran down Usain Bolt in 2008 and won a silver medal, then was part of that Trinidad and Tobago relay that won silver, and it has since been upscaled to gold because Nestor Carter of Jamaica tested positive, went through all his appeals, and the relay team was awarded gold in 2023. You know what Shamfa did, Penny? Ignore that team. Did not even call them and shake their hand. Did not even write them a letter of congratulations. Did not even treat them with respect. You know what Shamfa did, Penny? Ask Richard Thompson if he's elite. You know what Shamfa did over the years, Penny? Cut down the elite assistance program. When I was minister, 83 athletes were qualifying for that sort of funding, various levels from 250,000 down to 75,000. You know what Shamfa did? She managed to cut that number to below 20. Furthermore, you know what Shamfa did at every level in elite sport? Made the team smaller, made those who qualified to compete less. Do you know what that does? That puts more stress on the minds of those who managed to qualify, like Keshon and Jareem. The weight of the world, the weight of all expectation of their countrymen, Trinidad and Tobago, falls on their shoulders. That adds pressure to these athletes because of the incompetence of the PNM and Shamfa. And you talk and say Shamfa deserves praise? A minister of sport has to be much more than just handing out checks and taking picture. But I don't expect more from you, because you is the woman who took a picture and build a house as Minister of Housing, but take a picture in front of some mailboxes. You know, I don't like to do this, but let me tell you, a minister of sport must be inspirational, must give the athletes hope. When they come to talk to you, you must give them a listening ear and an understanding and a word of advice and inspiration and support and problem solving. You know how Sunil Narayan going to bowl today in the CPL final? Back in 2011, 2012, when he and Cooper were called for their actions. You know what this minister of sport did? Got the permanent secretary of the ministry to get $775,000 to pay for Sunil Narayan and Cooper to go to Australia, to go through all the testing, all the videotaping, the computer analysis, the coaching, to repair any so-called flaws in their technique. And up to now, Sunil Narayan still bowling. That's what a minister of sport does. Do you know this minister of sport when the women's national team captain, Atin Johnson, and one other player came to meet me on a Friday and asked for support ahead of the 2014 qualification process for the World Cup? And I told them, boy, the amount of money I increase across the board in the NPI vote, for me to go back in cabinet, the other ministers might run me out of there. But they talk, and I told them on that Friday, which I didn't take no picture and I didn't take no camera, but you want to talk, Penny, and you could ask Millie Atin Johnson, you could ask Yaya, you could ask all the women players. I said, listen, if all is serious, I will fight with y'all. But y'all have to show me that y'all serious. They said, Minister, what to do? I said, tomorrow morning, as many girls as you could round up, bring them to the stadium, Hazy Crawford Stadium, 6:30 a.m., Saturday morning. I reached there 6:15 a.m. 9 girls showed up. That was with little or no advance notice. They started to put on the boots and things to go on the training field. I said, no, put on your running shoes. And we went inside the Hazy Crawford Stadium. And after the 5th or 6th 400 at high intensity VO2 max pace, Millie Atin Johnson, the last surviving Mohican, pass out and vomit and so on, but they put a great effort. Every Saturday and every Wednesday for the next 6 months, I went there and worked with those women. That's the team that nearly qualified. They just lost out on qualifying for the World Cup when they lost in a home and away to Ecuador. You saw any picture? You saw any big flams? A minister of sport supports the athletes quietly. When Keshawn got his javelin, it wasn't because it was some preferential treatment, but it was just right. He came, his manager Sean Roach came to me and complained that his athlete couldn't train properly, and he had World Junior Championships in the summer of 2012. And then Olympics. He hadn't qualified for the Olympics yet, but he was hoping so to do. And yet the entries, the PNM head of the entries, one of them was SHAMFA's advisor, Ephraim Seret, wouldn't give Keshawn a javelin to train. How myopic, how childish, how unpatriotic this PNM. So this minister took the people's money, taxpayers' money, because I knew they would want it, and bought 2 javelins for that young man. He brought junior world championship gold and Olympic gold over that summer. That's what a minister of sport does. Celebrates the athletes, increases funding across the board, increases opportunities for coaches, coaching caravan. SHAMFA cut everything because Rowley and the PNM didn't care about sport. She cut the NPI vote down from 140 million to 10 million, cut funding for Pro League football, Super League football, national team football, women's football, netball. People had to start back doing curry-Q and barbecue. So don't come and talk about SHAMFA need some credit. The only thing improved while SHAMFA was Minister of Sport is that she wardrobe looked better. She had nice handbag and belt, and some things went in and some things come out and some things get lighter. But sport was in a mess. We now have to rebuild sport from the bottom up, from the grassroots up, from the coaches, from the doctors, from the sports science, from the facilities management. So don't talk, Penny. When you don't know, shh, Penny. And stop disrespecting the athletes. Even Rowley didn't even know. His government stopped the contract with B-Mobile for Brian Lara. Cut Hazy Crawford, Lara, Dwight York and Ganga, the sports ambassador stipends. That's the PNM. You don't even respect the elite athletes. Asking Richard Thompson if he's elite when he was injured. Many athletes who served this country, when they came to me as a minister, we had a policy that we will deal with their rehab and their surgeries and pay for it for them because they were warriors and soldiers for this country. These things you wouldn't know because as a minister, I forced to talk about it now because of your stupidity about give SHAMFA credit for elite funding handing out a check. And you talking about Keshawn wasn't doing good. You don't even know. He was always world class, always top 10, always right there knocking on the door since 2012. Just because he didn't get up on the podium, something was just missing. That mental element, that freeness of the mind, that spirit, that support, that feeling that the country was behind him. And Jareem, you think it's a coincidence? They now live and get medals as the PNM gone, as the oppressive, tyrannical, disgusting, negative cloud has been lifted over the country. You think that is a coincidence and a fluke? The PNM is a disease. You are in charge of the disease, but the UNC is the vaccine. So Penny, hush. I wouldn't even pay a penny for your thoughts on sport. SHAMFA? Let SHAMFA go and buy more Gucci, yes? Bless.